Progress.
So, good afternoon and warm welcome to all the esteemed participants and speakers joining us today on this Global Udan Series 7. It's an initiative of the Directorate, an ongoing initiative to foster the global dialogue and professional excellence. So, it's truly an honor and privilege to welcome our esteemed speaker today, Ajay Gupta ji. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time for this Global Udan Series 7, which we are doing it started since April. So I think truly an opportunity for all the participants to listen to you, gain the knowledge, and understand the very important topic which we have today in our series, Unlocking Fintech for Tapping Export Opportunities. So this is under the Development of International Trade, WTO. We have started this initiative, and a lot of work has been done in this WTO. So, as we move forward in an increasingly connected world, the role of technology in trade and finance is becoming more vital than ever. So, and fintech, which this subject today, or financial technology, has become one of the most powerful forces transforming the way global business is now being done. So I think if I say simply put, fintech refers to the use of digital tools, which we now using on day-to-day professional work, the platforms to deliver the financial services in faster, more efficient, and more accessible way. I think that is what we uh, do it, and I'm happy to share that we have an expert like Ajay ji who will be sharing his experience, and also the digital payments on the online lending, the foreign exchange platforms, the automated invoicing, all these, the blockchain for trade finance that help manage compliances and risk. So definitely fintech can be a true game changer for anyone today for exports of goods and offers services across cross border. So it helps receiving payments quickly, manage currency more easily, and credit without relying on traditional banks, and keep us with the rules and regulations in each country. So thank you once again, Ajay ji, for an important session. I'm sure the small, medium businesses, professional startups in India would really getting this advantage of this fintech services and the opportunities digital platforms provide today. Just to share with our participants who are here that we from the WTO Directorate, the Development of International Trade, WTO, have started this Global Udan series and making efforts consistently, as a platform for knowledge sharing. And of course, today we also have with us our moderator, C. Ankita Agarwal. She's also been there working for US Gap and other areas. Definitely, her moderation definitely would help the participants when the questions been asked with Ajay ji and been discussed, and more clarity will come among the participants with this opportunity when we have today. So session continues that legacy, bringing together thought leaders, practitioners, policymakers to explore how fintech can unlock new avenues for export. Another important area which this directorate now is working is the growing demand globally. We have started an online certificate course overseas on US market, and very soon we are developing a similar course for UK market, and going forward offering focused on Australian market. So this is what the plan is. Eighth batch of US certificate course started on 13th of May up to 9th of June, and by 1st of July we are planned to launch the UK market, because UK focus will emphasize outsourcing opportunities, business related services, and
I believe Abhay sir got disconnected. Maybe some connectivity issue. He should be joining with us soon. He's there.
Sorry, I think there's some technical issue now. So I was mentioning that, of course, the UK and now the Australian also offers great opportunity for us, and we plan from the directorate to start new areas of certificate courses in UK and going forward for the Australian market. So, and other areas, definitely the work is on. We have an residential refresher course, RRC, already planned for our members who have done US market certificate course, which starts from 30th, 31st, and first 3 days. We have planned at our Center of Excellence, Jaipur. So, this is again a good opportunity for members who have done this US market course for hand holding, getting hands on training from an expert. So, this 3 days definitely would enrich their knowledge, really help them to understand the US market more closely, and whatever opportunity which is coming to them, they can certainly cater to their clients which is coming from US. So these are certain initiatives, and of course this series really helps the members to get to know the opportunities which are available. And the topic today on fintech, I'm sure Ajayji, with his experience and in-depth knowledge, definitely the participant would be highly benefited. And once again, I welcome all the participants, our eminent speaker Ajay Gupta ji, the moderators here Ankita Agarwal, and Gunjan, who's from the office of WTO. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And hope this next 2 hours will be a great learning for all of us. Thank you. Over to you, Ankita.
Thank you, sir. That is really a lot of activities being organized from the committee, and that all the programs actually is very useful for all those who actually aspire to work in the global India market. And with all the globalization and US technology work coming to India, this is a very good platform for us to get together and actually for the knowledge sharing. So this is really very nice initiative. With this, I would like to introduce our speaker, Mr. Ajay Gupta. And Mr. Ajay Gupta brings overall 25 years of leadership experience in the global firms such as Agilent Technologies, Honda Cars, and L&T. And before starting his entrepreneurial journey in 2017, he actually served as a country head and president at Global Growth, where he successfully scaled their India operations from just one to over 2,000 professionals. Today, he leads two ISO certified companies that help growth stage business in the US and Europe market, that build remote capability centers with the offshore teams and deep expertise in finance, analytics, and technology, HR, and marketing as well. His organization employs over 250 professionals across Delhi, NCR, and Hyderabad. Mr. Ajay is also a charter member of TIE Delhi, a member of Independent Directors Club, and a trustee of Vishnu Prakash Mission, which is supporting higher education for the underprivileged children. That's a very noble cause, sir. Please, all of you, welcome in joining Mr. Ajay Gupta, who is actually going to share his wonderful experience and insight on the fintech and how we can unlock the new avenues tapping into the global export opportunities. Welcome, Mr. Ajay Gupta.
Thanks, Ankita. First of all, thanks, Abhiji, for the opportunity, and thanks for the WTO and within the ICA. So I have been working on different, especially on the US market courses, and I've been involved from the beginning. And I would say it's a wonderful platform and I have interacted with a lot of members offline as well. In fact, some of the members from Delhi NCR have visited my office, and I told them that I'm available for any help they need in kind of how to grow their presence. So because eventually it is the ecosystem that helps each other. So I am for all possible help that we can provide. And thanks, Ankita, for the nice words. I would say a lot of that words. I'll try my best to fulfill your and Abhiji's expectations. So please allow me a minute before I share my screen here.
Yeah,
Give
sir.
me, yeah. So please let me know when you can see my screen. Is it is it visible?
It should be coming up. Oh, just a moment. Yeah, we can see it, sir.
Okay, so the topic for today is really how can we unlock the fintech, basically financial technology or digital tools for tapping the export opportunities. So the session I have provided, like I tried to keep in mind a strategic perspective that can be helpful for institute members. So, as Ankita mentioned, I'm founder and CEO of iRapido and Health First. So, this is based on some of my experiences and some based on the secondary research. So, I don't claim to be an expert in this, but I would try my best if you have any follow on questions. So first of all, I think anything I would come direct to the bottom line. How does fintech really help exporters? So as Abhijit gave a mention of this, so I would say eventually it is improving their cash flow and managing working capital. Now, how does it do that? Let's try to see some examples. So first of all, there is this opportunity of invoices discounting. Now, with that discounting, and we will go through each of these in detail. So basically, we can through this the SMEs can have quick cash access without any collateral. Now, as we know, we keep reading in the newspapers, and we are all aware getting working capital for an SME is their real challenge. So anything that helps them to get access to their cash through their AR, that's a kind of godsend for them. So this is one area which really helps through their utilization of fintechs. Now again, through digital payments, there is a better collection tracking, and eventually it improves their cash flow. Now, especially on the GST side, it helps them with faster refunds, fewer errors, and especially like I can say from our own example that we because our both companies are 100% export oriented and we are exporting services. So GST refunds for a company like us is an important area, and we have utilized some of these tools that I'll talk about, and it has really helped us to in faster refunds. Then an opportunity of export finance. So basically, with all the visibility that fintech solutions provides, there is a possibility of advance payments on these invoices, and of course, working capital loans, which help in the fast disbursement and digital application, and very important forex risk mitigation. So, just to give you an example, I started my business in 2018. And in that period, all of you who track Forex, you would see how GBP and USD, these are the two currencies in which my business operates in. So I have seen GBP at one time going as low as 90, and today it is as high as 115. So, but for a small company like us, that means huge. I mean, from 90 to 115, that is more than like 30% change. And for a, like you can understand, if a company is not mitigating that risk, that is a huge exposure they are putting themselves to. I'll go about details of this. So let us look at each step in the export life cycle where fintechs help in this. So first key process is really buyer onboarding. So let's say I as a company, I find a potential buyer of my services, but I want to make sure that this is a genuine buyer. Now, in the traditional platforms that are available, there are KYC delays. It's a manual process. We don't have that accessibility. There is a possibility of a fraud as well. Whereas with the fintech solutions, we have a digital identity that is formed, and there is an anti-money laundering screening. So because we all are doing a genuine business, so we don't want that tomorrow we get into any of these frauds, because fraud prevention is a big challenge these days. So these are some of the tools that I talked to some people who have been using it, Signzy and Trulio. You all can just Google them. You can identify if you have not used, but this is one area which is very helpful, especially on the onboarding of new clients. Then comes the payments. In the traditional area, like of course there is delays, there are costs involved, there is reconciliation challenges. Now there are several cross-border payout APIs. Now, for example, there is this Neum, Pioneer, and there are several other. Like in my case, each of my client would send through a different payment gateway that they use. And there are very few who send directly through the banks, and it helps them because otherwise, for every payment, like just to give you an example, let's say my client has to send me $500, for example. In the traditional method, a bank will charge me anywhere from a $20 to $50. Now, if we translate that to from a $500, that means anywhere from 4% to 10%. So what I typically used to do earlier was I used to combine the payment, like instead of a monthly, I would ask them a quarterly or this, which always have challenges. But now with all these platforms, it improves our one the cost and reduces the delays. Then, of course, there is the credit, which is like again against the export. Any MSME would like to get a credit availability. So, with the traditional model, there is a long working capital cycle, and again, a typical MSME has very little or no collateral available. Now, in the fintech, what fintech offers is possibly a factoring of the invoicing, and there is embedded lending which is available. And these are few platforms if you are not exposed to. One is drip capital. This comes as highly recommended by people in the trade. There is credex. I have not personally used it, but I know some people are using it who have benefited from it. Then, of course, in any export, and especially we as CAs, we want to make sure it is compliant. Any solution is compliant. We don't want to get into compliance issues with the RBI or other government agencies. So in the traditional platforms, we do have risks associated with FEMA, GST. There are, of course, RBI hurdles. But what fintech does is they automate a lot of that workflow. And with the automated workflow, I would say the compliance risk gets reduced. So it is, I won't say it is 100% gets reduced, but compared to traditional platforms, there is a significant reduction. And there are few of the platforms like Clear, Viana, which are being used. Then, of course, the forex management, like especially, I gave an example of this high volatility that even on the USD, when I started way back in working with US companies in 2007, dollar was trading somewhere at around 38, 39, and today is at 85. And in between, anything happens in the world, anything happens in India, this swings, and that swing can impact a small player, any MSME, if they are not kind of managing that. So there are smart contracts available. There are auto hedge alerts. I personally use a lot of these hedging tools because that helps a lot to manage our finances. So there are like platforms available like Book My Forex, uh, Instarim. And again, I'm not recommending any of these platforms. These are just examples. I'm sure as a professional, we all will do our own due diligence, and we have a topic slide on that, especially around due diligence that we should do before recommending any of this to our clients. Now let's talk of this one by one, and I'll spend more time on this because we really need to explain this to our clients, MSMEs, why they should even embrace these digital platforms if they have not already started. So invoice financing or factoring, for example, unlocks the working capital which is tied in receivable. I mean, we all understand that for any MSME, AR is an opportunity, and the quickly they can convert that AR into cash. That is how it can provide them the growth opportunities. So fintech platforms provide cash advances against invoices. Like these two tools come as recommended tools, but again there are few others as well. Similarly, trade finance digitization. Now, digitized LCs, guarantees, and of course, they speed up financing. So, especially like those who are doing exports of goods, there is so much of documentation involved, and this digitization of trade finance really helps in that. And there are several blockchain enabled platforms that reduce these delays and paperwork. So some examples of these platforms are Contour and Comgo, which come like suggested by some folks from the network. Again, there are dynamic discounting platforms. So basically, early payment in exchange for discounts. So a supplier, like if I am the supplier of goods or services, I offer some early pay discounts, and a buyer benefit because it helps them for the flexibility of the terms. And these platforms enable that. So, for example, C2FO, Prime Revenue, these are two platforms that I heard which enable this. Then digital forex and payment gateways. These really help in the faster cross-border payments and lower forex rates. How do they do it? By a real-time settlement and better transparency. Now, I have realized that transparency in forex is a real challenge. I have worked with leading banks. They even gave me platforms. uh, they even gave access to where I can call somebody from the bank and they connect me with their authorized dealer. But I see there is a huge gap. They tell me that my margin is some pesa, but I now, after working in the industry for so long, I have my own tools available. But I have seen that these kind of platforms really help in kind of not only settlement but in the better transparency in the pricing part. Because for a if a MSME in exports can really manage their forex risk, I think, like personally from that I can say that majority of the challenges are taken care, because it's a huge risk for any small business if they are not managing their forex well. Then there are AI based cash flow forecasting tools, and again, these are all data driven. These avoid cash shortfalls and supports better planning. Now, a lot of startups or small businesses who have a great product, and we realize that a lot of times they fail because of uh, because of their entire poor cash flow management or working capital management. And part of it is really like they sometimes they are unable to kind of forecast how when the cash is coming and when they need to spend. So these tools, Fluidity, Pulse, Fathom, they help in some of these cash flow forecasting. Then, of course, there are credit lines available, instant access to working capital loans. So we understand that again, a small business, they are always in search of capital, and so let's say one of my key customer delays in the payment, but I have to make my meet my expenses, be it salaries, be it other goods, other things. So, and any delay in the working capital impacts the credibility as a business. But these tools help in that. There is a credit based on transaction data, and they check the digital footprint. They don't rely so much on heavy collateral, and they have really enabled faster access to the credit to all these MSMEs. So I would encourage everyone to look at these tools and do, of course, your due diligence. But these are the tools available in the market for this. Then there are supply chain finance platforms. So basically, it does early payments to exporters from buyer's bank. Now, once the buyer's bank kind of sees that okay, they have done some shipment, or even in the there are different ways they enable it, and tools available, but it helps in improving the liquidity without changing the payment terms. And again, these are some of the examples like Vayana Network, Credible. Now, then credit risk assessment and insurance. It again protects against any default or delay. Now, this is a great tool available. It also helps in automated risk scoring and credit insurance. Now, there are Euler Holmes, Coface. These tools are come as recommended in this. And of course, for documentation, it kind of there are certain tools available to help reduce the fraud and manual processing. There are smart contracts available which helps in the instant verification. So example is like TradeLens, we.trade. These are two examples of this. Now, eventually what it helps, these helps in a good exporter dashboard. So basically single view of cash, invoices, forex and payments. This is really helpful to any MSME exporter. Now, then there are fintech ERPs available for real-time working capital visibility. So, a lot of these tools have identified the key pain point of MSMEs, which is the working capital. And a lot of these solutions provide solutions around how can real time their working capital need is visible to exporters. So for example, Zoho Books has tied with Finbox, Zero, which is another accounting software, with Transformate, and these combinations help with better dashboards. So like in my company, for a lot of clients, we are also using Tableau, Power BI, because eventually, how can we help our clients in providing the right dashboards? That is critical in today's environment. Now we talked about how basically like MSME exporters can benefit from this. But we understand that a typical MSME business person is busy in 100 things. And a lot of times they don't have either time or they don't trust these platforms. And this is where this community, all the members here, all the participants here can play a role. So this is our next topic of discussion. How can this community help exporters to select the right fintech solution? Because rather than a fintech platform, they trust their chartered accountant, because that trust has been built over years of working together. So let's see what the role this community can play. So first of all, it is really the financial needs assessment. So basically, after you work with your clients for so long, you understand what their working capital needs are. I would say a lot of you would know that on the tips and even the cash flow needs. So basically, after you have analyzed that working capital and cash flow needs, you can see which fintech solution helps to meet that. So basically, it can be a matching that okay, this is the need of my exporter, and this is a solution that can help to bridge that gap. Then, of course, as we talked about due diligence on fintech providers, because of course there is a lot of solutions are available, but at the same time a proper due diligence is required so that there is no regulatory risk at a later stage. So we all as a community can help to evaluate the credibility of the fintech platform and see whether they are compliant or not, and even eventually financial health of fintech platforms, because we see that a lot of startups who are behind these fintech platforms sometime overnight, like we like last year we heard even a company of the scale of Paytm uh, had an like an RBI risk. So we all as community can make sure that the platform that our clients or these exporters are utilizing, they are compliant, and we can really help them in the due diligence. Another part is really in the strategic fit evaluation. So again, it connects with the point one, basically whether the solution that we are evaluating for the exporter, whether it aligns with their business goals and scalability or not. So that is another thing. And of course, we have to make sure that the solution that we are considering is compliant as per the regulatory requirement. So it verifies adherence to FEMA, RBI, or any other export regulations from the regulators. So this is very important because we don't want our clients to have face any of that risk, and our clients trust our judgment. So this is very important role that we as a community have to play. And of course, cost benefit and return on investment analysis, because again, a lot of these platforms, as we know, that they don't come free, and sometimes there are hidden costs available. So we have to make sure that the fees are compared, and whatever is the cost effective option. So I can give an example, like one of my client paid my invoices through a platform, but that platform would not allow me to use a pre-booked deal through an authorized dealer. So I had to use their deal. And when I looked at their price difference from USD to INR, based on what I was getting on that day and time versus what that provider was, what that tool was giving, there was a difference of, in USD to INR, was almost around one and a half rupees. So again, a lot of times, unless we really evaluate it properly, it can expose us to some financial losses as well. Then of course, integrating with the integration of that with accounting and ERP. So we have to make sure that solution that we are recommending to our clients, that kind of integrates well with the tools like Tally or Zoho or whatever tool our client or that exporter is using. And again, forecasting and scenario planning, because again, we know uh, exporter, as a exporter community, we understand that lot of, there are so many variables, like we understand, like especially textile industry, how much we had this Bangladesh crisis, there was a scenario. I mean, there are all so many global events which impact the exports. And a typical good exporter, they need a scenario planning all the time, and there are tools available which help with that. So we as professional CAs, we can really help our clients to use the tools that help with the forecasting and scenario planning. Now, naturally, if we are asking our CA friends to do all of this, that means a lot of work. That sounds like a lot of work. Now, but yes, there are tools, there are systems available, and so basically, here are certain guidelines available that for the due diligence by CAs before recommending a fintech platform. Now, again, we talked a bit about why this due diligence is critical, because, of course, to mitigate the client risk, we do not want that we recommend a solution to our client and tomorrow the company closes, or the company gives a solution which reduces my, like I gave that forex example. So, and of course, it has to comply with evolving regulations, ensure it is stable, reliable, and very important part is protecting data and financial assets, because for any business, data is the key. And no customer of ours would like that we are recommending a platform that is not kind of using the latest technology, as simple as even ISO 27001 or latest standards which are available to ensure data security. So this is the importance of due diligence, why we as a community need to do it. So these are some of the compliances I'm sure all of us are aware of, but I'm just listing down. So, for example, this RBI authorization, a PPI, which is prepaid payment instrument. So, whether they have all these licenses, payment aggregator license or not. So overall, we want to make sure that the platform that we are recommending to our client, they have the proper authorization from RBI. Similarly, they are compliant with FEMA, RBI, especially on the cross-border transaction validity. This is very important. We don't want that tomorrow our clients face a challenge in while taking refund of GST or other export incentives or all of those things. And of course, KYC, know your customer, anti-money laundering adherence, because ultimately this whole customer due diligence processes and documentation. So it should be very, very, very important, because like when we submit our requirement for GST refunds, and we'll come to that. There is so many documentation which is asked, and a lot of times the key is really the customer due diligence, whether a valid contract exists, whether it's a genuine entity. I mean, all of that, and whether the money is, and we'll talk about IFRC and all that. So that is important here as well. And of course, compliance with Indian and global standards. So especially those of us who do business in European markets, GDPR, it's a strict, fairly strict, because we do a lot of business in UK market, and I understand how strict it is. And I'll give you an example that one of our clients in that company, some of the leading UK insurance companies are investors. So they do regular audit of our, because we are their supply chain. So they want to make sure that we are compliant. So especially even that we are paying fair wages to our employees as well. Whatever, so the audit even includes whether whatever are the minimum wages in the states we operate in, and are we paying. So whenever my client comes, so every 6 months there is a audit requirement, and sometime online or in person they do the audit. So for example, they will ask me lowest salary people, including the housekeeping guys, and so what are their salaries, what are, so make sure there is no child employed. So we want to make sure that we are compliant. So I'm just giving you an example how working with the GDPR exposes a client to that risk, and we want solutions. So for example, we are using some HR solutions that help us with that audit, because I don't want to do it manually each time, because that will be a lot of wastage for me, my client, as well as my HR team. So we have those solutions, and good part is solutions are available in the market for that. So of course, we as a community have to do the financial due diligence before recommending a fintech platform to our clients. So again, uh, audit reports, whether they are financial transparent, independent or not. Like especially the case which came in Paytm was that whole uh, RBI flagged the independence part. So again, we as community can look at that. Again, capital adequacy, whether the platform that we are recommending, whether they are solvent or not, and whether they have backing of sound investors, because we see a lot of times a lot of startups come with a lot of promise, but because they are not managing their working capital well or whatever reasons, all of a sudden the company goes out of the market. So we want to make sure that the solution or platform we are recommending to the clients, they are backed by sound investors. And again, the pricing transparency. There should not be any hidden forex market markups or transaction fees. Like the example I gave, where I could not use the uh, pre-booked forward through my authorized dealer. So that platform did not allow me. And again, sustainability, we want to make sure, because any client of ours would not like to change these platforms very regularly. So we want to make sure the company is not only existing today, but they are financially stable and they are profitable enough to invest in their future growth. Another part which is important is technology and security evaluation. Whether the tool that we are recommending or the platform that we are recommending, does it meet the security certifications? Like, for example, ISO 27001 is one, SOC 2, which is another important certification, especially for tech platforms, PCI DSS. So, again, I understand that we as CAs may not be fully technically literate, but again, we it is always as I share in my other sessions as well. Today, all said and done, whatever is our profession, uh, we have to be technically literate, because this is something. All this is like, even a doctor today cannot say that they cannot ignore tech aspect. So and again, there is help available. There are information security experts, we can always take their help, but at a minimum we should understand these terms, so that the platform that we are recommending, that they have these security certifications, because these certifications at least ensure that okay, there is some basic processes that that platform is utilizing. Now, penetration tests. So, for example, like again, our client recommends that we do those penetration tests every 6 months. Now, again, whenever we do that penetration test, we can display that on our website, that which company we are using. So that builds another credibility. And if there is any breach history, any like these days, even the best of the companies, there can be a breach, but the real thing is how they are managing the breach, how they are like articulating it, how they are communicating with the clients. Like other day, just day before yesterday, I received a notification from Adidas that there was some breach, and I may have used some Adidas product one time. They said your phone number and email possibly has been leaked, and but there was no credit card leak. So again, I'm saying these days, even despite all security, nothing is 100% secure. All we are looking for is how is the company managing that risk. Are they even transparent about because if somebody says that I'm 100% compliant, that really raises a risk. That means they even don't know the cyber world, because frankly, claiming 100% compliance in today's times is like very very naive. Okay, then is of course data encryption and storage, using, like for example, in our case, we have several healthcare clients. Now, especially those of you who deal with healthcare clients, so there is something called protected health information, PHI, which is very very critical. So though we are dealing it more on the financial data, but because my end client is a healthcare tech platform, so they want to make sure that there is encrypted emails, that anything which has any, even remote any patient information, so all the emails are encrypted. We all are even the devices there, these are encrypted. I mean, I can go on and on about the data encryption, but that is so critical in today's world, and we want to make sure that any platform that we are recommending, that meets these requirements. And of course, the business continuity, the uptime, SLA, and disaster recovery plan. So, for example, we don't want that the platform, where are they having their servers, what has been the downtime history. So all of these are important, because eventually, if a platform is being used by our client, it can expose them to a risk unless this is being done properly. And if we do not have the know-how to do this technology evaluation, we should always use certain experts, or we should disclose this to our client very clearly, that okay, I as a professional CA, I'm doing the financial due diligence. you should seek a help of an expert in tech part. But this should be disclosed clearly so that it doesn't put your position or your credibility at risk with the client in future. Of course, we have to make sure that the platform is operationally and functionally fit. These are API, whether they have the API integrations with Tally, Zoho Books, GST, SAP. I mean, all the leading platforms, accounting platforms that our clients use. And again, how is the user experience? Is it simple enough? Can it be accessed on these mobile? How is the onboarding ease? And again, real challenge I would say is in the customer support. A lot of times these platforms they sell you, but the they typically don't have a uh, army of a call center, or there is no voice if something goes wrong. So we have to deal online. So how quickly is a ticket resolution? What is the escalation process? What are service level agreements? So all of these are important. And how they have automated the workflow efficiencies, alerts, report generations, and talking a bit about their reputation and reliability. So, of course, there are market reviews available. So, for example, from Trustpilot, RBI Sachet forums. So we can do. I mean, the good part with in the digital world is we there is information available. We can do that through our market reviews and try to see if the client if the platform has any litigation history, because there can be a regulatory or consumer cases, because that raises a red flag that if the company we are recommending, they are always in litigation or they are facing that kind of litigation, so that raises a flag. We should do our due diligence. And what kind of client base they have. Are they being trusted by exporters, any banks or MNCs? Because that to an extent tells us, because all these companies, like all the leading banks, if if a big bank is using a platform, that tells us because the bank would have done a due diligence. They would have done much better than even we can do. So that gives us some level of confidence always. And again, track record of performance, since when they are in operation. Did they just start, or they have been in business for quite some time? So this is also important. Then again, any exporter specific capabilities of forex tools, like do they offer live rates, do they offer forward contracts, do they offer hedging capability, again, do they offer trade finance, invoice discounting, LC backed lending, do they provide reporting tools, for example, audit trail, GST invoicing, reconciliation in ready formats? And of course, are they really doing any export workflow or not? Because a lot of times they may not have, the platform might be developed more for domestic business, and they may not have the capability to handle export documentation workflow. So this is what we will have to use. So just to summarize some of these best practices, so we have to evaluate the fintech holistically. We cannot just go with the because it is a long term. It is simply like even much more than going choosing a bank, because this can expose us to a lot of risk or our clients to the risk. So basically, not only doing from a compliance standpoint, we have to review it from a tech as well as financial standpoint, make sure their features match to the client needs, and involve the legal IT experts for sensitive recommendation. So this covers especially the due diligence that we as a community can do for this. Now, after we have done, so we looked at what are the benefits. Basically, these help these platforms provide to exporters, and we looked at how we as a community can help in due diligence and recommending. Now, we know that MSMEs typically are a laggard as far as technology adoption is concerned. By laggard, I mean they are not early adopters. Typically, MNCs, bigger companies, and it might be multiple reasons. I worked in both larger companies and MSMEs, and I am now running an MSME. So I can see, like, as a owner of a MSME, I am like in thick of so many things. And a lot of times we, as a MSME owner, we think that this is more for a bigger company. Why should I even use it? So now this is where this community can help play a role in educating MSMEs on the benefits. Because as I said in the earlier, as I said earlier, they would trust you more than what is written online, because you have access to their financials, you have built a strong working relation with them. And if you can really articulate the benefit in the language they understand, I think it will be much more easier for them to adopt these platforms. So just take a breather. So here is a strategy to engage the MSMEs. So one clearly is the awareness sessions. So as anything in, like, it starts with awareness, because though these days the information is available so quickly, but again, unless it is a priority for me, unless I, because my mind is in 100 other things. And I'm saying, when I say I mean, I'm representing thousands of MSMEs who are your typical target client. So you would have to raise an awareness session with them, explain to them in their local language. Like, sometimes English may not be their first language. You may have to explain it in the language they really understand, and so the message goes to them. And use case storytelling, and I have some example of this. So they want to see that, okay, if somebody is a textile exporter, they want to see if a textile company has used it, how a textile company can benefit from it. If somebody is a software exporter, or if somebody is a accounting business, providing accounting services to global clients, so what are some use cases? So that way they can relate to it. Otherwise it looks like a technical jargon that has been shared. So people want to see what is specific to their industry, what is specific to their day-to-day world. Then again, live demos. The good part is, most of these platforms, because they are in the customer acquisition journey, they give live demos. So all we, like, I gave so much of examples in my previous slides, and these slides will be shared with the directorate, so these will be available to everyone. So basically, the all we need to do is just go into that platform, share the contact information. A lot of times the demos are available on the platforms itself, but if you want, a lot of times they would even come online and give those demos to you as well as your customers, because this really helps in evaluating that. Again, we talked about this, simplify the jargon, because sometime all these, like, I know we as a financial community, we use a lot of these jargons, and it is not our fault. A lot of times these jargons are thrown at us, but to make sure our customers actually adopt these platforms, we have to simplify that jargon. We have to simplify in their language, not only the language but the financial language that they understand, how it benefits them, because eventually what is the ROI for them. And that is the next thing we come to it, ROI calculator tools. So like I was giving this example of this forex. So if we can give some scenario that, okay, let's say your client, an MSME exporter, had a forex rate booked through their current method, and let's say these days USD is hovering around 84.5 to, let's say, 86. So maybe one particular day they received a wire, let's say, of $10,000, and they used a forex rate of 84.2, for example. I'm just throwing a number. And if through the platform you could tell them that real time rate at that point of time was actually 84.6, so which is 40 paisa difference. So 40 paisa into 10,000 can be 4,000 rupees. And depending, you can do that scenario that, okay, Mr. Customer, you have this much of business, you have $1 million remittance you are receiving in a year. And if you are losing 4,000 per 10,000, so this is the loss you are doing. And they will clearly understand that language clearly. So I think this can really help in that their adoption. And of course, I would say I would thank ICI for doing this, because this is so much important. Because when a trusted voice like ICI or MSME chambers are doing it, it really helps to spread the word. So this Udan series is is an example in that. Again, one-on-one hand holding, guide them through onboarding. Because again, and I know that like my CA comes to me, and a lot of times he has to actually sit with me to do it. Because and I know that we all are short of time, but eventually I think it will improve our client confidence in us, because it will make their lives easier, and it will make our lives as a chartered accountant easier if we help them to adopt these platforms. And of course, there have to be digital literacy workshops, teach basics like, again, UPI, e-filing, and all those things. And again, this is like this example this series we are doing today. You can do something for your own clients. These are some formats, like it can be an infographic, just visualize benefits clearly, before versus after case studies. What was the, like I just used that example of forex, that okay, if you are using this platform for forex, it is giving a rate of 44.2, this gives you this, so they can clearly see the benefit. Again, you can create your own WhatsApp videos, short clips. I'm sure most of you would have a WhatsApp group of your own clients. So this is something you can share with them to improve, and this is a good value add. They will which will in turn help you to retain those clients. Again, simple flyers which can be used, and ROI calculators. Now, this is some example which I have searched online, an example of a real textile exporter in Tirupur. So again, the problem this client faced was 90-day receivable from their EU buyers. So what they used as a fintech stack, Drip Capital they used for factoring, invoice factoring, Neum for Euro collections, and Razor Pay for their reconciliation. So this was the stack they used, and eventually it helped them to reduce their working capital cycle to 45 days. Now again, all of this need to be validated. I'm using more as an example to showcase how you can use it to educate your clients. So basically, we say this is the problem. What is the problem? Let's say your client, maybe receivable is not the problem for them. They may have some other problem, or maybe one of your client has a good success story, and that you can use to, without disclosing the name of the client, that you can explain to other client. Because as I can, like if I am from the ITES BPO software industry, I would relate more to those examples rather than exporters of goods. So similarly, so this is what it helps. So here we are talking about another case. This is a software as a service exporter from Pune. Sorry, they have billing in USD. the payment they received is through Stripe or PayPal. They used Clear for GST, Razorpay for INR reconciliation, and it helped them in certain savings on forex and faster GST refunds. So again, this is a format to educate the MSME clients, but feel free to use any other format that your clients understand, because there is no one size fits all. This is one which I have seen, like especially if I have to explain a benefit to my clients, they typically, I know that they won't have time. I have to tell them what is the problem statement, what is the solution I am recommending, why I am recommending, and what it will help, how it will help them. So these are some examples to uh, educate our MSMEs here. Okay, sorry. Let me. So Ankita ji, I have more to share. Should I stop here because I am speaking for almost 45 minutes to see if there are. How do you want it? Should I continue or should I take a breather here?
So you can definitely take a breather over here. And I would say, like with the examples that you just gave, that's a very good understanding that is getting developed with all of us. And the minute details that you actually shared with respect to the intricacies and how to use the softwares, with respect to the due diligence and all the details that is being given by you, I believe we all would agree that it's really very helpful in understanding the intricacies of the fintech developments that we are all are addressing nowadays. So yeah, that is also there.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure I'm not speaking to myself and it is
No,
adding
no,
some value
definitely.
to everybody.
It not some value, sir. I would say with the actually ground level details and with the experience that you are having, we are actually able to relate the real world complications that might come when we are maybe exporting the services or helping the MSMEs to actually develop their business into this field. So no, definitely you're not talking to yourself. We all are actually gaining lot of knowledge from this particular webinar.
Thanks, Ankita ji. I know I have once just on a. I want to make it a lighter moment. My friends put me on stage to sing a song, and when I did that, there were eggs and tomatoes. So though online medium you cannot throw eggs or tomatoes, so I just wanted to be sure this is actually useful. Thanks for reiterating that.
Yes,
Okay.
and sir, we do have some questions also that came up during the session. So if you
Okay.
want, we can just take one or two right now, and
Yes,
later
please.
on, yeah.
Yeah. Let's do
So,
that.
people want to understand that whether such inward remittances for payment of export invoices would satisfy RBI guidelines of remittances through proper banking channels, because they say that the money changers like Western Union are not as classified as a proper banking channels. So, if you can just share some light on that
I
about the.
have some slides actually coming on that. So there, it has to be a valid FIRC certificate has to be available. Without FIRC, it is like a bank, because when we go for claiming GST refund, if
Yeah.
an valid FIRC is not available,
Yeah.
we will not get that refund. And I do have certain slides on that topic. So it has to be through a authorized dealer with the category 1 banks.
Okay. So is
Yeah.
there any mode by which we can check whether the dealer we are dealing with is an authorized RBI listed entity, or how can we verify
I
that?
think RBI sachet gives that, but let me check on that. I will of course note this if there is a platform available to
Yes.
check that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be
I
really
will
helpful.
definitely check on that. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they are available. So we will need to. I'll need to check on that, please.
Okay. Okay. So the next question that we have is they need to know how the MSME business houses, just like the private limited companies, can unlock the financial support from foreign investors. If they need any foreign funding for setting up their business or some venture capitalists, so is there a possibility or a platform through which we can connect with the foreign investors, or how can we explore it?
So see, there are multiple of these. Like in Ankita ji, you mentioned in my introduction, like I'm a Thai charter member. So
Yeah.
similarly, Thai has several avenues. By being a Thai member, you can actually become a member of their global community.
Okay.
So basically, Thai Silicon Valley helps with lot of that work. So there are so many other platforms which are available these days. So not only within India but outside as well. Thai is one because of course I'm a member. So that's one that I have seen several companies getting benefited. But I
Mhm.
think one, of course, is uh, Y Combinator, but it has its own requirements. So if somebody fulfills those requirements, that is what they can use. And I can give a complete list of that. But there are so many of these platforms. But a lot of times, like from my little experience, they are a lot of the investing capital, especially from foreign companies or VCs, is coming more on the tech side. So if you
Okay.
are looking to, especially for the service business,
Mhm.
I'm not saying funding is not available, but compared to a tech platform, like if you are building a tech platform, if maybe 10, 20 investors will approach you for services, it might be just one or two. So I just want to be sure everybody is aware that getting a funding with a pure play services business is a challenge. So it's because any of these investors, they look for scalability of the business. So we should actually look for a right investor who invests in this kind of business, because the good part of any due diligence is this as well. Because otherwise, let's say I approach Sequoia Capital, which is one of the leading uh, leading funding entity, but they typically invest only in tech platforms. They do not even do it in services. So one thing is we have to do that sort of due diligence, but at the same time, depending on which stage the company is. So there are especially like if you are looking only for angel investment, there are
Mhm.
several angel platforms available. And especially for financial sort of companies, Singapore offers a lot of opportunities, because I have seen some of the people who have got funding through that. And in fact, you can do some especially VCs in the Singapore side. But at the same time, before even approaching a potential investor, all that would apply. We need to do why we need capital. I mean, I would say, because that is the first question. This will come, and be ready that seeking capital, especially from a foreign entity, requires a lot of pre-work. So you need to
Yeah.
look at whether you are ready for that kind of at whatever stage your company is. Do you really want to invest that time, or are you even better off holding your equity now? I mean, all those questions will come, but there are definitely platforms available.
That was really helpful.
Any other questions, Ankita ji, before I move?
Right now, that was there, sir. We can
Okay.
definitely proceed and take the others later.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next thing really is we talked about how we can help to educate our clients, and how to choose the right platform, how it helps the exporters. But the key issue is all this FEMA and RBI compliance. So especially when using tech platforms. So What are the key risks? So if our client uses a platform which is not really compliant, it can result into delay in their export proceeds. So which of course which can further uh, dent their working capital. So we recommended a platform to help them with their working capital needs. But if the platform is not compliant, it can actually delay that. So we have to be fully aware of that. Again, using non-authorized dealers. So this is related to the first question. We should not use any non-authorized dealers. So of course, that is a risk. No FIRC. If they are not providing any foreign inward remittance certificate, that is a big risk. Again, sometime if we are parking funds abroad with fintech wallets, be it PayPal or all. So, for example, in our case, we have EFC accounts as well as INR accounts. Now, at the end of every month, if like I have some funds which have not been converted to INR, so my banker would start sending me messages that you should convert it before the end of the month. So again, we cannot keep those funds parked beyond RBI guidelines. Now, if the platform has a poor export data processing and monitoring system, so that can be a risk as well. And eventually, RBI we know is more very critical about the ultimate beneficial beneficiary. Who is the ultimate beneficiary in that? So this is why the this whole onboarding and this process becomes so critical. And coming to this, like there are these are certain compliances, especially for the export proceeds. So goods within 9 months, services within 15, and must be credited to India based bank account. Or if there is a delay or there is a mismatch in realization, it can be a potential FEMA violation. So this is where any export proceeds have to be realized through this. Now, use of authorized dealers. Any foreign currency must route through authorized dealer category I banks, because if we are storing funds in foreign wallets like Wise and PayPal, then it can be a risk. And eventually, we have to ensure that the final credit is via SWIFT to INR or EFC account. So this final credit has to be through a SWIFT mechanism. This is important. This is as per the current guideline. Then there have to be declarations. So again, FIRC is needed for DGFT, GST benefits, and ensure fintech or partner bank issues valid FIRC. So we need to make sure that either the fintech or whosoever is their partner bank, they issue this, because if we are not having, this will not be recognized as an export. And of course, match remittances with shipping bills in the EDPMS system. So that has to be ensured as well. And yes, using business accounts only, not personal fintech wallets. So especially I know when we start business, we are not aware of it, and we say it is my company, I'm the 100% owner, or I'm 50% or whatever. But then we all as CAs know that our business is a separate entity, we are as a separate entity. So anything, any funding, that is any receipts that are coming, has to be in the business account only, not in our personal, because then it can be expose us to a risk. And of course, the KYC, IEC, import export certificate, PAN details, and all of those have to be mentioned. And make sure that the fintech partner that we are choosing, that is compliant with RBI norms. And so that is there. Again, as a quick checklist for exporters, and I would say not only exporters, but we as a community, because we are recommending that to our exporters. One, of course, is that they have to use a RBI regulated fintech, uh, and credits proceed to the Indian account quickly. These are not lying in in that those wallets. Of course, collect the FIRC and the bank advice, match exports in EDPMS, and maintain all the supporting documents. So this is especially concerned about the compliance and how we as a community can help our exporter clients, or if we are exporters, what is the checklist for us. Now the next critical part is the documentation and audit trails. Now because like when we are doing a fintech based exports, what are the best practices for this? So one key is maintaining a master export file which has the export invoice and packing list if it is a goods, purchase order contract is there, shipping bill of lading, export declaration form, and letter of undertaking for GST if it is applicable. So again, we as CAs, we know that documentation is the key. If our document, like a platform, doesn't mean that we do not have to have these documentation ready, because if there is an audit trail in future, we like our client would ask us as CA, and if we are running our own MSME firm, we need to keep these things available for a potential audit and collect all these documents, like especially archive these what we call the FIRC and the SWIFT advice. This is so critical. So of course, like I know in one case, our I remember our GST refund was delayed because at that point of time we were using Yes Bank, and we all know that around 2020, sometime around that, there was some issue with Yes Bank, and then eventually SBI helped. But during that few months window, we could not get the FIRC. So then I had to so the banker, like when we applied for GST refund, we were not getting the refund. Then eventually I kept raising it with Yes Bank, but nothing happened. And then finally I raised a escalation through, I'm sure we all are aware, RBI ombudsman. There is a scheme that if we have an issue with our partner bank, we can raise a issue there. So I actually escalated there. Then I found the email ID of CEO of Yes Bank. I sent an email to them, and you would be surprised, within 2 days I got the FIRC. So I'm saying why I'm sharing this real example is that a lot of times we assume that okay, Yes Bank or State Bank, these are pretty big, but good part is regulator is, we as a country, we have very sound regulators, and the only thing is we just need to see how we can use them and how we can help our clients use them if needed. Because uh, like I could easily if I did not get that GST refund, it would be it was not huge amount, but point is that exposes a risk to me. I mean, if my banker is not giving me FIRC, who else can I trust? And but the good part is the senior management of the bank as well as RBI. The moment I involved, I could get the information very quickly. And on a lighter part, after that, the banker has been so kind that they know that okay, this guy can actually escalate to the level of our CEO. So, but they have been very prompt in giving the FIRCs now. So we should save the Swift copy for each remittance. All of these are required for any potential claims under FEMA, DGFT, GST. So eventually the point is, whatever it is, even if these platforms are available, it doesn't mean that we do not need to keep that paperwork ready, because like any of these regulatory bodies can ask for that information maybe years after the transaction happened. And if our paperwork is not strong, we or our clients can be at risk. Okay. And of course, preserve the fintech statements. Download monthly transaction wise reports. So again, it doesn't mean we can't say that, okay, this transaction is available in my fintech platform. Why do I need it? But we the first thing we as a CA and what our institute tells us is we have to, the moment we see any risk, we should first address that risk. So that way, I would say keep those transaction wise reports. The good part is they have those reports available. So we should still download those, keep those in whatever data center we are keeping, or either digitally or paper form, whatever is the format. But those statements should be downloaded. Include the FX rate, deductions, customer name, because eventually that is what is required, and this is used for your reconciliation as well as the audit trail. Because in future, you might be asked even from income tax authorities or from any other places. So if you do not have an audit trail, this can put you on a risk. Okay, then of course, matching transactions with EDPMS, ensuring that whatever is the inward remittance, it matches the export shipping bill. Because if that is not there, it can be an issue. Then work with your authorized dealer, the bank, to close entries in the EDPMS. All of this is required for RBI compliance. There are separate requirements for this. If the platform integrates with the accounting software, that will make a lot of those things easy. Like if there is a forex gain or losses, whatever is the fintech fee, so that has to be kind of clearly mentioned in that. It should be aligned, it should be integrated with that software, and whether they are syncing with the, and the good part is most accounting softwares, even including Tally now. Earlier Tally was little behind the tech adoption, but now even Tally is providing a lot of those API integrations for this. And there have to, we have to maintain those clear audit ready ledgers, because if there is any question in future, we should have those ledgers which are clearly ready. And of course, reconcile with the GST returns, match export invoices with GSTR1, ensure with 3B trace payments for refund claims. Again, if we are doing this proper reconciliation, if there is any question from GST commissioner, any of those officials, it will make our life much more easier. And of course, secure access and role management. Store digital signatures and fintech login credentials safely. Because we talked about data security. Now, if the passwords are like 1234, we understand what we are talking about. So all those fintech like data security rules apply to us. And I think this is one area I have actually seen that a lot of our CA community need to be more cognizant of. I am sorry to say, even a lot of times we do not use proper passwords. So, and a lot of times the passwords are shared like anything. They should never be shared on emails. So, though this is not a platform to talk about digital security, but I see that gap a lot of times. A lot of friends I talk to, a lot of my even clients. So I think this is a very, very important area, how we are storing our digital signatures, even who we are sharing, how are we changing the email passwords regularly, are we updating the kind of even our laptops, like that is. And another very basic example, I use this example in my communication session for US classes, that when we are going, I know that a lot of times we are going out for dinners after our office as well. So how are you keeping even your laptops? Lot, I know there is a lot of security, but people at times I have seen even very key people, they leave their laptops in the cars. Now we understand there is a potential risk, and it is not the value of the laptop, but it is what it carries, the whole data, not only of ours, but even of our clients. So I think I'm slightly digressing, but I have seen those examples. So I just thought of giving those examples here because it is so critical. And even our mobiles, what we are downloading, what we are not, we know phishing attacks, all those things. So those equally apply to this as well because we are talking about fintech, and which is a digital technology, and anything with digital means we have to make sure our clients as well as us, we are we are utilizing the proper tools to keep our information secure in today's digital world, and eventually it helps in the financial data integrity. And of course, so depending on, like, I understand as per the current guidelines we have to maintain these records for so many years, but guidelines may keep changing, but as of now these are there. Similarly, FEMA documents for so many years, and backup documents on cloud or local drive, wherever. The point is, this platform does not mean that the audit trail requirements have gone. So we still, as a community, have to make sure that we are using the proper backup mechanism, and be ready for any external audit at any point of time. We have to make sure that all those matched exports, payment, GST, all this data are matching. It can be a review by auditor, DGFT, or RBI. And so if we have those fintech statements and FIRC ready, it will make our life so much easier in case of a potential audit. Again, to summarize very quickly some of these best practices, we have to reconcile those fintech receipts with invoices and shipping bills, match in ADPMS and GST returns, maintain FIRC, SWIFT, and fintech reports, and backup records and ensure accessibility for audits. So this if we are following these best practices, it will help us in case of any future audit by any of the government authorities. So again, as I summarize, payment reconciliation, I'm spending more time on this because it is so critical. It will make our lives easier. Match fintech receipt with invoice and shipping bill from a compliance. Collect FIRC, SWIFT, and match here. Accounting. Make sure we book any fintech fee, any forex gains or losses, and GST matching. We are archiving, storing digital and physical copies, and maintaining the fintech statement and uh, bank linkage proofs. So let me take a quick breather here. So Ankita ji, when you see when it is time to stop, please flag it. I'll take, I think, around 10-15 more minutes, then I'll stop. But in between, if you think I'm overstepping the time, please let me know.
No, sir, please continue. You can definitely have the time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so another part is reducing the forex risk for exporters. Now, especially when we are using the fintech platform effectively, it can help us to reduce that risk. Now, real-time forex rate locking. So the moment we have the like, this is the best practice I follow, because the moment an invoice is raised to the client, at that point of time I lock the forex rate with my authorized dealer, because that doesn't that reduces the potential risk. And either you book a forward, or whatever way, I make sure at that stage itself it is booked. And there are certain platforms available, like Wise is one, Pioneer is one, OFX is one. It protects our margins from the volatility. And especially like in last 4-5 months, we have seen huge volatility in the forex market, and that's a reality in the current geopolitical scenario that is not going to change. So it is better we have this and we recommend this to our clients. Of course, having multi-currency accounts. So, like for example, our primary business is in USD and GBP, and we have separate USD account, separate GBP account with our banker. So that way it becomes easier to hold that, and there are again platforms available for this. So, and we can convert when rates are favorable, because otherwise you have to convert on the day of receipt. So that gives us certain help in that. Okay, then forward contracts. So for future payments, we can have like again, we follow this as well. So for example, based on last 7 8 year of business running, we understand that okay, how when is like for some clients we do monthly invoicing, for some it is quarterly, and for some it is project based, it is where it is based on the timesheets. So we have a projected cash flow, and then we kind of book those future payments as the forward contracts as well. And frankly, these have helped us a lot. And again, it is not foolproof. Like for example, some of the GBP contracts that I booked recently, I'm at loss there because GBP we booked at around 110, today it is 115. But that risk is always there in the currency market. At least I am not an expert. If any one of you is, I would really like to take lessons from that person, because I am not an expert after dealing in 20 plus years in this market. So the best is to hedge your risk, and that is the strategy I would recommend, because I have seen a lot of companies actually, and some of my friends who never did that, who actually got like one of, I remember when GBP got suddenly there was a new prime minister, this guy Boris Johnson. He was fired, a new prime minister, I think Les Hurley or somebody came, and for that 2 3 months GBP was so volatile that at one time it reached actually 90. So just imagine if you have worked with your client for 105 and your currency drops to 90, and you are running a business with a 10% margin, so it is a huge risk. So I think this forward contracts is a huge help. It eliminates in the future rate uncertainty. And these days there are AI based tools. I have not personally used any of these, so I would say if any one of you want to use, please do use your proper due diligence that we articulated earlier. But of course, there are tools available these days, and as a, I would say, as the future of this is AI, so we should always be ready to adopt these, at least experiment and see if these are helping us and our clients. So there are these tools available: invoicing in client's currency, convert partially. It gives certain flexibility. It helps in the better forex management. And like there are forex management comparison tools available, like Instagram, Remitly, Wise API. These help us to provide the lowest cost provider. And like these days, most of us in our personal life, we are all already using, like if I have to buy a car insurance, or even if I have to buy a car, we use online tools, online platforms. So that similarly, why we should not use for forex margin as well, because these can help us as well as our clients to on this. Now, use direct currency pairs to avoid chain conversion. So, for example, we are an exporter, but we have certain expats whom we have to pay in their foreign currency. So if we are first converting that forex to INR, and then we are converting that INR to forex, we are paying double conversion charges. So what we do is we hold that funds in EEFC, and then we transfer it directly from EEFC to our expat. So that helps us to minimize our conversion charges. And there are even tools available for this. Again, there are forex alerts, dashboards. So just like for stocks in equity, these tools are available. So similarly, we can set the forex thresholds and get real time rates, and these are built into most modern fintech platforms. It helps us in the timely decision. Again, very quickly, as a best practice summary, uh, it helps us, like if we are aware of this, it helps us to lock rates early with fintech forex tools, and we should use it to lock these rates. Use multi-currency wallets. We should consider forward contracts if we are not already doing it, and monitor market with these alerts, because currency can fluctuate. Like there is one tool you might all be aware, xe.com, at any point of time, and I use it as a lot. Even if when I am in talk, like when I'm booking a forward, I look at the xe.com rate, and if they are giving me a rate which is lower than that, I can easily tell them. So all I'm saying is it tells your banker as well that you are a aware customer. You are not somebody who they can cheat. Like, sorry if cheat is a wrong word, but I see that a lot of even bigger banks, they are making money at the cost of MSMEs. So we should be a aware community, and I would really mm, want that everyone who is present here, and we should similarly articulate our clients to be more aware. We should not just go with that, okay, this and this bank or this and this platform because they are such a big name, because their best interest is in their profits, not in ours. And we as smaller or mid-sized businesses, we have to make sure that our interests are protected, and we are not here to make money for them, we are here to make money for ourselves. Benchmark platforms for lowest forex margins. Again, very quickly, lock FX rates early. This is a fintech platform available. Hold funds in the currency, multi-currency accounts, hedge future exposures, forward contracts, timely conversions, AI-driven, track rate alerts. So forex dashboards and APIs are available. So I think in the interest of time, I will hold it here. Let's see if we have any questions. Ankita ji, over to you. And I have more slides. If there are no questions, I can definitely go through these. But I'll stop here and see if there are questions.
So with the detailed explanations, I would say many of the questions even I was having, but they were addressed during the session itself. But yeah, we still do have some questions coming up to us. Our members would like to understand somebody who is not having a prior experience in this area, how can they approach this segment of working? So if you can just help us understand that.
Sorry, I mean, in this segment means, are they asking on the fintech or are they asking on the accounting services? I mean, I just want to be sure I'm answering the right question.
Sir, I believe both the aspects. So, if a new member is trying to approach some industry members with this kind of working and they want to provide the services, how can they actually route the approach on that aspect?
Yeah, so I think the first is like really the benefit. See, so as a marketing, I can use my marketing hat here. That if we are selling something, I know traditionally, uh, again in India, a doctor or a CA doesn't have to market themselves, because people come to us and they come to us for our expertise. But
we are not allowed also, sir. We
yes,
cannot
we are not allowed
advertise.
as well,
Yeah.
right? We are not allowed.
Right.
So we should not. That is why I'm saying we, especially if we are in India, we cannot do that. But
Right.
yes, if some of you are looking to export your services in the
Yeah.
right, in the US market, UK market, then
Yes.
definitely the same rules that apply for any business will apply for you. Like some of the examples, like let's say, why would they, let's say, first you need to answer this question to yourself, that you are approaching uh, a potential client in US, for example. and see just and so I this thing comes to keeps coming to me a lot of times. My blunt answer to this person, and she's a CA with around 20 years experience. I said, ma'am, the first thing you need to do is kill your ego. And she was really surprised, and it was a shocker to her. I said, as a professional CA, you work in the industry. People, your CEO was dependent on you, and when you do that, typical ego comes in that okay, I am an expert. And now when you are reaching to clients, they don't care where you work. They don't care what your expertise is. Now you are reaching out to them. So
Yeah.
this person told me that okay, sir, she was working with a leading industry, leading MNC, and she wanted a work from home opportunity. Seeing the what was happening, she thought she would start. Why should she not start marketing her services? So first 3 months she had a tough time, but I think after that she's still in touch. She said, okay, I started looking at it as a business rather than as a as a firm, because here in India, as a CA firm, as Ankita rightly mentioned, we are not allowed, right? Because we come from a different mindset. But when you are exporting services, then you are a business person. And not only you, a client is receiving thousands of those emails. You may be the best in the world, but for the client you are just one spammer. I'm sorry to use that word. It might hurt your ego, guys. I'm sorry if I'm using harsh words, but frankly, it is a learning experience. And I'm sharing from my experiences. Ankita shared that before starting my business, I worked in the industry for around 26 years. And I was as a CEO of a company with all the stock options, all the company car, everything. But now, when I start my own business, I'm nobody, right? Though I have contacts and all, but I have to start everything from scratch. And a lot of people actually, especially from a professional community, because as a CA, you cleared one of the toughest exams in this country. It comes with a lot of respect, and especially because we are not allowed to market, we are not taught the typical marketing techniques. So I think first of all, you should make yourself, if you are seriously considering exporting your services to international community, you should enroll yourself in a digital marketing course. How do you, even your LinkedIn profile, what it tells, even can you do email marketing, what an email marketing subject line should be. And I use these, some of these in the outsourcing course that I say AI offers to through WTO.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things available. So because just like imagine that, put yourself in the customer shoes, right? You as a customer every day get so many emails, phone calls. I'm sure you are not listening to those phone calls. You are putting those emails to spam. So similarly, put yourself in the psyche of your customer. They are receiving thousands of email from budding CAs who are trying to do this service to their to this community. And naturally, you have to differentiate yourself. Maybe pick a niche area. So, for example, I know some people. They are good in due diligence, so they only pick due diligence. Somebody is picking like bookkeeping or whatever, because accounting is huge. Now within that you may pick a domain. If your expertise lies in healthcare, you may pick healthcare as a domain. If you are focused on let's say especially software companies, or especially VC firms. So I think picking a niche area, proving yourself in that rather than be all of everything. So this is
Yeah.
one thing we can, it can definitely help. And at the same time, look at your digital footprint, like especially LinkedIn in the professional world, and even Instagram. If you don't have a company website, like this is another, if you want to do it long term, the first thing they would like this was another the question. I'm using the example of that person. She was asking me, sir, do I even need a website? I said, yes, you are. your company has a different identity, the person, they would be far more comfortable dealing with a entity versus dealing with an individual. So just like we talked about due diligence a lot, similarly a potential customer will do due diligence on us.
Right.
So is
Absolutely.
that being done properly or not? So I think that would be, sorry for a long answer, but I thought it will help everyone.
It
And
is
just,
really helpful.
sorry, go ahead please.
No, it is really helpful, sir.
Yeah. And just to add to it, you can use LinkedIn posts, you can use email marketing, you can even use direct mail campaigns. There are so many. And I'm sure, Ankita ji, you can maybe possibly recommend a marketing course. I don't mind taking it if that is an opportunity. So I won't be able to do justice to that in last 10 minutes of this, but there is definitely tools available for this.
We definitely would recommend this to the committee, sir. And definitely it will help us to explore more in this area, because I believe this is a very much flourishing area which we are seeing nowadays. And with all the globalization and the companies coming to India, and Indian workers, Indian professionals for all the help that we are actually seeking for. So actually, that is going to help us a lot in our career building.
Yeah.
So I believe, sir, with the insights that we have got, we just now understand that fintech is not only revolutionizing our payment system; it is actually helping us in all the business aspects that we see in the market, with all the financing, the compliance things that we need to start up and running up the export business. And with the insights and with the real world examples, I would say, with the experiences that you have shared with us, we all have got a very good insight about the export market using fintech in that, and how to do all the compliances, and especially with the payment structure, and how to actually keep on rolling it every month and getting it into our accounts. We have got a very good understanding with the help of your experience. I would like to say a big thank you for all the knowledge that you shared with us, and to our participants as well. And I believe all our participants will now take a very proactive approach with all the techniques that you shared with us in exploring the export market, as well as approaching to the prospective clients. So, yeah, that would be really nice if we could take this further with all the learnings that we have gained from here. So, a big thank you to everyone. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ankita, and thanks, Gunjanji, and everybody and all the participants. Thanks for the opportunity. Hope it was of help. Thank you.
Yeah.